86%. Chapter 501. Don't bring people like this here again. Afterwards, the group entered a private room of a nearby restaurant. General Lee spent his life in the military and had a straightforward personality. As soon as he sat down, he said straight to the point, "Little friend Lin, you must know the reason why I am here. Now, Blue Star is gradually entering the extraordinary era, and whoever can master the extraordinary power can control the future of Blue Star. In the past year, we have suffered huge losses in order to occupy the floating island number 013724. More than 1 million of Shah's elites died. The most important thing is that we have not been able to capture 013724 floating island until now. The root cause is lack of strength. Floating island number 013724 is one of the first 7 floating islands to arrive on Blue Star. Su Yi is a professional on this floating island. If this were not the case, we would not be so shameless." General Lee smiled bitterly as he recounted their encounters on the floating island. Any floating island has a vast territory and massive extraordinary resources. If 013724 floating island is successfully occupied, Shah Guo will not send representatives to negotiate with Lin Yu. It's not because they don't like the resources of the floating island ruled by Lin Yu, but just 013724 floating island is enough for Shah Kingdom to digest for many years. But the fundamental problem is that they cannot handle the wild monsters and local forces on 013724 floating island. So I can only find Lin Yu here. I hope to establish a cooperative relationship with Lin Yu and jointly develop the 014965 floating island under Lin Yu's control, thereby enhancing the overall extraordinary power of Shah Kingdom. If we can build on this basis, it would be even more perfect if Shah Guo occupied 013724 floating island. Lin Yu was silent. General Lee said again, "Little friend Lin, we are now a dialogue between extraordinary professionals, not a country and individuals. I will not use the national justice and national mission to kidnap you, because I also know that you must have paid a huge price to occupy 014965 floating island. Whether you are willing to cooperate or not depends on your own intention. Even if you refuse, we can understand. Of course, it would be best if we can cooperate. We will definitely do our best to meet all your conditions." Such a commitment can be said to be full of sincerity. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yu said with a smile, "There is no problem with cooperation, but I have a few words to say." Hearing this, General Lee was immediately happy. The official professionals standing behind him were also excited. General Lee quickly said, "Little friend Lin, if you have any conditions, just ask." "Then I'll be blunt," Lin Yu said. "I can open the 014965 floating island and let you go into plant spiritual objects, collect magic potions, and carry out various extraordinary plans. But you have to hand over 50% of everything you gain." General Lee agreed directly. For cooperative development, the profits will be split half and half, which is very reasonable. He is even ready to split the accounts with Heaven Kingdom. After all, those Shah Kingdom professionals in Paradise Kingdom pay 70% of taxes on a daily basis. In his opinion, Lin Yu's move was already a special consideration for Shah Guo. At the same time, it also shows that Lin Yu is a positive energy ruler who can be continuously contacted. Here, Lin Yu said again, "I will send a large army to occupy the 013724 floating island in the near future. Your army had better withdraw first to avoid unnecessary casualties." As soon as these words came out, General Lee fell silent. Because 013724 floating island is their ultimate target. It is also the base camp where Shah Kingdom plans to fully enter the extraordinary era. They are just one step away from this goal, occupying this floating island. Although this step will be long, they believe that as long as they don't give up and keep working hard for this goal, they will succeed one day. As a result, Lin Yu actually wants to take this island away. Doesn't this mean that their ultimate goal plan will not be achieved? All the previous efforts and sacrifices will be in vain. This, General Lee. Lin Yu interrupted the hesitant General Lee and said, "To be honest, whether you agree or not, I will send an army out. And not only the 013724 floating island, I will also occupy the floating islands related to Blue Star. This is the first phase of my war plan. Lin Yu's final war plan is naturally to occupy and integrate all the floating islands in the universe. Let the floating island of all realms return to its appearance before its disintegration." At this time, a holy man standing behind General Lee said with some dissatisfaction, "Can you eat so many floating islands by yourself?" Hear this. Lin Yu glanced at this person immediately. Seeing that the atmosphere was not right, General Li quickly said, "Little friend Lin, don't be angry." Lin Yu said to the man, "I don't want to see you." As soon as he finished speaking, this holy level powerhouse disappeared out of thin air, and faint screams could be heard. Several other people standing nearby were so frightened that their faces turned green. Lin Yu was very calm and said, "General Li, don't bring people like this here again." Quote. General Li's mouth suddenly twitched. "I feel my scalp is numb again." However, he could sense that the man was not dead, just severely injured. This is the best result. At the same time, he has now witnessed with his own eyes how powerful the demigod is, or how powerful Lin Yu is. A strong man of the holy level who controls the field disappears just like he said he can't see him. No ability to resist at all. It's absolutely terrifying. 86%. Chapter 502 Lin Yu's Hope. I will withdraw the legions on the island as soon as possible. General Li did not hesitate anymore and agreed to Lin Yu's request, and said, "When capturing 013724 Floating Island, if you need us, feel free to ask." "That's not necessary." Lin Yu waved his hand. "You are too weak." "All right." General Li smiled bitterly. Lin Yu's words did not give them any face, but they were true. They spent a whole year but failed to capture 013724 Floating Island. Lin Yu, however, took less than a month to conquer 014965 Floating Island, and also captured 018439 Floating Island where foreign professionals such as Sakura Country and Banksy Country were located. It can be seen from this. How big is the power gap between them and Lin Yu? What they couldn't accomplish despite all their efforts, Lin Yu's angel army only needed 2 or 3 days to accomplish. And one last thing. After hearing this, General Li immediately became solemn and said, "Say it." Lin Yu said, "Blue Star is my home planet, and I don't want to see this world fall into war. The general should know that conquering Blue Star is not difficult for me. I just don't want to destroy the existing order of this world with my own hands. With the war power of the Angel Army, it is indeed easy to conquer Blue Star. But after being conquered, Blue Star has lost its due vitality. For Lin Yu, the greatest value of Blue Star is not to conquer it, but that when he comes back from battlefield of all realms to relax, he can still see Blue Star as lively as ever. As for Sha Kingdom, the same is true. I am a Sha native, with Chinese blood flowing in my body. This is something to be proud of. I will not bring the war to Sha Kingdom. So, you can rest assured that my presence will not affect you." Lin Xiaoyu is righteous. General Li was overjoyed and praised him heartily. To be honest, no matter which country in the world there is a special talent, like Lin Yu, the top leaders of that country will be instinctively afraid. Sha Guo's senior officials are no exception. But with Lin Yu's promise, they can relax. Considering Lin Yu's current status and his identity as the Lord of Holy Light, he would never go back on his word. "My request is very simple," Lin Yu said. "The Sha Kingdom of Blue Star belongs to you, and the professionals of Sha Kingdom of Floating Island belong to me. Can Xiaoyu Lin explain it more clearly?" General Li frowned, a little confused. Lin Yu said, "After I open 014965 Floating Island, as long as the Sha people come to the island, they must obey my orders regardless of whether they join my paradise country or not. My floating island, I have the final say." "Any orders?" "Yes, any order." Lin Yu nodded and said, "Including but not limited to war recruitment and fulfilling all kingdom obligations. When they leave the floating island and return to Blue Star, the constraints imposed on them by my heavenly kingdom will also come to an end. They will still be Sha people. To put it bluntly, even if they die on Blue Star, I won't care. But when they get to the island, they are my people. Those who disobey orders will be punished according to the laws of my heavenly kingdom. This issue is very important. I need to go back and report it." General Li said with a solemn expression. He understood what Lin Yu meant. They are Sha people in Blue Star. But after arriving on the island, they are people from the Paradise Country. Lin Yu will not interfere with Sha Guo, and Sha Guo will never interfere with matters on the floating island, whether it is now or in the future. Lin Yu nodded calmly. Although he does not think that Sha state has the ability to interfere with the floating island, even if it takes another 100 years to develop, it will be difficult, but some issues are better explained clearly. If something really happens in the future, it will also be easier for him to handle. General Li asked, "Does Xiaoyu Lin have any other requests?" "That's it." Lin Yu picked up the teacup and took a sip. Seeing this, General Li also breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Yu's 3 conditions are each more difficult to meet than the last. If there were a few more conditions, he would probably not report it, but would directly negotiate with someone else. Fortunately, Lin Yu did not continue to make things difficult for him. What General Li didn't know was, Lin Yu also wanted to promote cooperation with Sha Guo from the bottom of his heart. It wasn't because he wanted to get much benefit from Sha Guo, nor was it because he wanted to satisfy those 3 conditions. If he didn't want to cooperate, he simply refused. No one can threaten him. The reason why he agreed to cooperate in the development of the floating island was because he also hoped that Sha Guo's extraordinary power could be improved, and even reach the level where everyone became a professional. It would be better if a large number of demigods could appear. By that time, even if one day, he is trapped in the battlefield of all realms, or even dies directly in a certain war, no country in Blue Star can bully Sha Guo. He hopes to see the Sha kingdom become truly powerful. Able to ignore everything. No need to worry about anything else. Of course, it would be even better if the Sha kingdom could conquer other countries and become the ruler of Blue Star and the lord of the planet. He didn't want to conquer Blue Star because it was too simple and meaningless. However, he hoped that Sha Guo could do it. 86%. Chapter 503 Soul Demon and Fighter Group. General Li temporarily left the box. Apparently he went out to make a report. At this moment, apart from Lin Yu and the other 3, there were only a saint-level expert who came with General Li and 5 extraordinary professionals in the box. In Blue Star, based on their strength, they can run rampant. To exaggerate a bit, it means that he can fly in the sky and escape from the earth, and is omnipotent. But in this box, they were brave and dared to breathe. Because they were facing 2 powerful demigods who controlled the power of the law. Just now, Lin Yu made one of their holy companions disappear in an instant with just one word. He disappeared without saying a word. The feeling was the same as the legendary decrees and golden words. As scary as you want. They all lowered their heads, not daring to look directly at Lin Yu and Angelia. This is not cowardice. This is the reverence due to the strong. Especially in the extraordinary world, this kind of awe is a must. Su Yi on the side also remained silent. In terms of identity, she is just a tutor at the Demonic Martial Arts Academy in Xingwu City. In terms of strength, she is only at the late stage of the king level, and has not even reached the extraordinary level. She was able to appear on such an occasion because she was by Lin Yu's side. Even though she couldn't get a word in, she was already very satisfied. It was already a great honor for her to be able to see the conversations between big people, and witness the changes in Sha country's future destiny. No one dared to believe it. At the same time. On the other side of the world. A country 26,000 miles away. A figure tore through the space and appeared. She was wearing a dark red battle armor, and the 12 fallen angel wings on her back were emitting a strong blood light. She looked extremely evil. She is Victoria, sent here by Lin Yu. At this moment, she was already above the beautiful country. The momentum released from the whole body directly shattered the clouds within a radius of 10,000 meters. She had no intention of hiding herself. Compared to the elegant and distinguished Secretary N. Victoria is arrogant and arrogant. She fears no one but the Supreme Creator. Even when facing Angelia, Victoria is only afraid at certain times and is fearless on a daily basis. After arriving at her destination, Victoria immediately released her spiritual consciousness. Soon it enveloped the entire beautiful country. The scenes of the mundane world filled with materialistic desires were all presented in her field of vision. However, Victoria was not affected and quickly locked the location of the headquarters of Church of Creation. With the memory fragments from Pucho and her own detection, it would be easy to lock it down. Found it. There is indeed a demon hiding there. Belongs to the Soul Demon clan among the Void Demon clan. No wonder they have survived from the era of the Holy Demon War to the present. What the Soul Demon clan is best at is escaping and seizing other people's bodies. The Soul Demon clan is invisible and invisible. Once it gets into the body of other living beings, it is not only difficult to be discovered, but it can also quickly swallow the soul of the host, thereby achieving the purpose of seizing the body. During the Holy Demon War, there are many alien gods who were eventually devoured and had their bodies taken away from them because they did not understand the abilities of the soul demons. And the existence of them also caused huge casualties to the army of alien gods. However, the Angel clan is not afraid of the Soul Demon clan at all. Because the souls of angels are hidden in the angel heart, in their bodies, no matter how weird the abilities of the soul demons are, they cannot invade the angel heart. On the contrary, the angel clan is very restrained by the soul demon clan. The reason is very simple. What angels are best at is soul purification. The invisible soul demon clan relies entirely on the power of the demon soul for support. Once they encounter the angel's purification magic, they will die more simply than a chicken with its head chopped off. Just when Victoria was about to tear apart space again. Very suddenly, small black dots appeared in the distant sky, flying towards her. The speed is extremely fast, reaching nearly Mach 5. To put it simply, that's about 1,700 meters per second. For ordinary people, this speed is terrifying. But in Victoria's eyes, the speed of those little black dots was as slow as a turtle. She deliberately stood there and waited for a moment. Until those little black dots get closer. Those black spots are clearly a formation of strange-looking fighter jets. They are the most advanced fighter jets of the beautiful country and can run rampant in the skies of Blue Star. God, what is that? She actually stood in the sky out of thin air. Is she an extraordinary professional? Oh no, she's an angel. Looking at her appearance, she must be a fallen angel from the kingdom of heaven. Damn it, no one told us that the one we were about to intercept was actually a terrifyingly powerful fallen angel. And it's also at the 12-wing level. I feel the breath of death. It's like evil Lucifer is waving to me. Retreat. Retreat quickly. In the blink of an eye, this fighter formation changed direction very smoothly. Where you come from, where you go back. If it were anyone else, it might be fine. After all, no fighting broke out between the two sides. But who is Victoria, an 18-winged fallen archangel who is keen on war and killing? With a wave of Victoria's right hand, the space area where the fighter group was located collapsed layer by layer, and the 10 most advanced and beautiful Chinese fighter jets were all torn into pieces. 86%. Chapter 504 Nonsense. Could she still be here for a trip? Gorgeous fireworks exploded high in the sky, interweaving an extremely beautiful picture. Victoria admired it for a moment. Then the space was torn apart and disappeared. At the same time, at the headquarters of Beautiful Country, a huge combat command center, there are many professional and beautiful Chinese people gathered in the hall. At this moment, they looked at the images captured by military satellites and the blood-red prompts on the life monitoring instruments. Everyone was silent and speechless. I told you not to mess with that angel. How can we deal with the powerful creatures in myths and legends? You actually want to test how strong that angel's combat effectiveness is. Well, now, all the Sky Condor team has died, with a total loss of billions, but nothing has been tested in the end. It's not like I got nothing. A beautiful Chinese man in military uniform said. At least we can be sure now that even if we call the aircraft carrier formation over, we will not be a match for this 12-winged fallen angel. After all, she can even tear apart space. Quote. Hear this. All the beautiful Chinese people present were speechless. Some people are even rolling their eyes. Compared to the destruction of the Sky Condor team, they would rather not have such a gain. I'm curious about one thing. Can our big mushroom kill this 12-winged fallen angel? I remind you, never be curious about this kind of question. A senior official of the beautiful country said, this will bring disaster to our land of the free. But now, she has invaded our country. Trespassing without permission. This is a declaration of war on our beautiful country. Hearing this, the senior management of the beautiful country sighed and said, invade, just invade. At least the war has not really started. We will wait until the war starts. He is of the peaceful faction. We do not advocate being an enemy of the kingdom of heaven. Even if the kingdom of heaven made some very excessive demands, he said he could meet them. As long as there is no war. Because he believes that with the current power of the beautiful country, it is impossible to be the opponent of the Paradise Kingdom. Once a war breaks out, it will be the end of the entire beautiful country. Tell me, why did this 12-winged fallen angel suddenly appear in our beautiful country? Half an hour ago, she was still in Sha Kingdom. Appearing here in the blink of an eye, there must be some unknown purpose. You're talking nonsense. Could she still be here for a trip? Quote. Enough. From now on, pay close attention to the movements of this fallen angel. As long as there is news about her, you must report it as soon as possible. Besides, no one is allowed to approach her without my order. Don't even attack her without permission. I don't want to see her destroying our headquarters or even the entire city into ruins. Clear. A group of beautiful Chinese people responded one after another. They quickly controlled the various machines in front of them. But what makes them helpless is that they can't find Victoria at all. Even if they had used the power of Skynet, they could not lock Victoria. It's as if she has left the beautiful country. The headquarters of the Creation Church is located in Maicheng, in the eastern region of the beautiful country. Maicheng has a dense population and a prosperous economy. It also has ties with other surrounding cities, making it very suitable for Church of Creation to rapidly develop believers here. Of course, this information is not important. The important thing is, Victoria is here. She walked out of the torn void and directly broke into the headquarters of the Creation Church. As soon as she entered, she could clearly smell the breath of the soul demon. Filled the entire headquarters area. However, the source of most of the breath is not concentrated on the soul demon, but comes from the creation believers at the headquarters. This explains something. There are many people here controlled by that soul demon. Cannibalizing the soul and controlling the soul are the soul demon's best skills. Victoria was not surprised by this situation. On the contrary, she would be surprised if no one here was controlled by that soul demon. Because demons are inherently selfish and evil races. They will not trust foreigners, let alone entrust their safety to foreigners. Therefore, manipulation is bound to happen. After Victoria captures the soul demon, the manipulated creationists can regain their freedom. But what happens afterwards can only be determined by the degree to which they were manipulated. Severe patients will die immediately. Moderate patients become dementia. Mild patients will be comatose for a long time, until the eroded soul and mental strength are restored. Such people can return to normal. Didn't think much about it. Victoria went directly into the soul demon's lair. It was a building hundreds of meters deep underground, and there were also many creationists inside. The soul demon aura emanating from their bodies was even stronger. Victoria could tell at a glance that these people had been completely controlled by the soul demon and turned into demon slaves. Going further, I saw many undressed women, all of them extremely beautiful and with good figures, but they were also turned into demon slaves by the soul demon. Their daily task is to serve the soul demon, including but not limited to diet. Victoria glanced at the beautiful women with stupid eyes, and then said coldly, "Filthy alien creatures." 87%. Chapter 505 Easy to handle. Victoria snorted softly. The beautiful, half-dressed women nearby fell to the ground one after another. They are already completely controlled demon slaves. Only beautiful bodies are left. Living is torture for them, and it is better to die. As these female slaves fell, Victoria's figure also appeared. Almost at the same time, a piercing alarm sounded in this underground base. Immediately afterwards, a large number of well-armed creationists surrounded Victoria from all directions, including many powerful professionals. However, these people are just freeloaders to Victoria. Spiritual awareness swept away. They fell in pieces. In the blink of an eye, there were no living creatures in this underground base. Just at this time, Victoria suddenly reached out and grabbed the void in front of her. Suddenly, the void collapsed. A black figure was forcibly grabbed out of the shattered void by Victoria. It looks like a black mist. Sometimes it turns into a human form, sometimes it condenses into a dragon form. Sometimes it turns into a strange beast form. It is not an exaggeration to describe it as ever-changing. However, its body is tightly imprisoned by the power of Victoria's laws. No matter what form it changes into and how crazy it struggles, it cannot escape Victoria's control. Finally, it was desperate. It turned into a black fog ball. The fog ball has eyes, a nose, and a mouth. Its eyes fell on Victoria and said very humbly, "Dear angel, please don't purify me. I have already repented and rehabilitated myself." It recognized Victoria's racial identity immediately. But that's only half correct. Victoria is no longer a holy angel who masters the art of purification. She is the fallen archangel. If the soul demon falls into her hands, she will not enjoy the treatment of being purified. She will only eat the soul demon directly. The premise is that the Supreme Creator does not need this soul demon. The soul demon was extremely frightened at this moment. It had no idea that it had hid in a mortal world that could be said to be technologically civilized, and could actually be caught by the angel family. In the distant era of the Holy Demon War, it was just a small demon soldier at the semi-god level. Fortunately, he survived the war. And he was very lucky to escape from the battlefield of all realms. Later, it successfully ignited the divine fire, condensed the divine personality, and became a demon god. Immortal, everlasting. After becoming a god, it has been hiding on the floating island. Because the floating island is a place abandoned by the gods, it rarely gets the attention of the gods. And if it is hidden in other extraordinary worlds, then it is likely to be discovered by the powerful true gods who rule those extraordinary worlds, and then kill it. In order to survive, to hide on the floating island. It even proclaimed itself a god and only used power no higher than the demigod level. Have to say, its plan was successful. It survives to this day. After so many years, although it has been running around and surviving, its strength has also improved. Now it is already a mid-level god. Masters medium divine power. In the Void Demon clan's army camp, with its current divine status, it can also become the commander of a large army. 6 months ago, it bewitched a professional. Successfully arrived at Blue Star. Blue Star is a low-level technological civilization. Extraordinary power has just emerged. No god will pay attention to this at all. It can stay in this world for a long time. Facts have proved that during this period of time in Blue Star, it did live a carefree life. Except for the lack of cultivation resources, all kinds of desires can be satisfied. Those humble humans regard it as the great creator god. Never refuse its request. Whatever it wants, it gets. This feeling was so good that it even temporarily forgot that it was a void demon. However, what it didn't expect was that an angel actually came to this world and appeared in front of it, wanting to kill it. At first, its first reaction was not to run away. Instead, he killed the angels who invaded its lair. But the problem is, after observing it for a moment, it suddenly felt like it was no match. Once a war breaks out, it will definitely die. Obviously, this black-winged angel, who exudes an evil aura, is definitely not a simple demigod. After all, she has 12 angel wings. So, it chose to escape. But in the end, it still couldn't escape. He was directly forcibly grabbed out of the void by a terrifying force. Even if it unlocks the sealed divine position and uses its divine power, there is still no way to break through the black-winged angel's confinement. For a moment, it was desperate. But at the same time, it couldn't figure it out at all. It is obviously just a small mid-level demon, so how can it be chased by a 12-winged angel? It has experienced the Holy Demon War, so it is very clear that the 12-winged angels of the angel family are great beings at the main god level, and crushing it to death is as easy as crushing an ant. Sending a 12-winged angel to hunt it down is a complete waste of resources. Be good and don't struggle. Otherwise, I won't be able to help but eat you. Victoria stared at the soul demon imprisoned by her with strange eyes. The abyss magic power in the soul demon's body attracted her like a delicacy that was hard to find in the world. She wanted to eat this demon. At this time, the soul demon also sensed Victoria's appetite for it, and his face was suddenly distorted with fear. It has always been their demons that devour everything in the universe and regard all races of creatures as food. It seems that no one has ever dared to devour them. The reason is that the abyss magic power in their bodies will pollute the creatures in the universe and turn them into demons. But the black-winged angel in front of him didn't seem to be afraid at all. You are not an angel. The soul demon suddenly shouted in horror. Angels who appeared in the era of holy demons are all holy and pure creatures. And your aura is extremely evil, even no less than our demons. What species are you? 87%. Chapter 506. Don't be afraid, it's just a small bite of you. The soul demon's name is Alex. This is the real name it gave itself after becoming a god. The Void Demon tribe is a race with an extremely strict hierarchy. Demons below the level of true gods are not allowed to have their own names, because they are low-level demons and cannon fodder on the battlefield, even demons at the demigod level. These types of demons are collectively called demon soldiers and little demons. Only after being promoted to the realm of true gods can demons be qualified to give themselves a real name. At the same time, it also means that they have been promoted to the level of great devil. Alex is the big evil now. In fact, it's grateful to be in this universe. If not, it would be difficult for it to grow into a great demon. The universe of the Void Demon clan is a very cruel world, even for demons. Whether a little devil or a big devil, they have to experience countless wars and killings in their lives. The weak will definitely be eliminated. Among them, the little devil has the highest elimination rate. When the little devils hatch from the devil's lair and are promoted to the stage of big devils, only 1 of a million little devils can survive successfully. In other words, the probability of becoming a great devil is 1 in a million. The other little devils will all die in the war of killing each other. This shows how cruel the world of demons is. If Alex had followed the remnants of the defeated demon army back to the demon universe, he would most likely have died. Instead, it stayed in this universe and successfully survived. Not only that, he became a great evil, possessing the status of a middle god. Although the life of hiding around is very difficult, the ending is always good. Tens of millions of years have passed, and Alex's memory of the era of the Holy Demon War is no longer clear. When he first saw Victoria, he regarded Victoria as an angel. That's because of the 12 wings behind Victoria. Angels are a winged race. The more wings on the back, the higher the strength and status. The devil is the pupil tribe. The racial status of a demon can be identified by the color of its eyes. The color grades are black, red, lavender, purple, dark purple, and gold. The further back, the higher the racial status. The devil with purple eyes is a pure-blooded devil. However, when Alex is caught by Victoria, it suddenly reacts. The angels it saw on the battlefield back then were all sacred beings. They were never contaminated by the dust of the mortal world, and they regarded the evil forces as their mortal enemies. But the angel in front of it, not only did he not have a sacred aura on his body, but he also exuded extremely evil power. Its level of evil frightened even a purebred demon. If it weren't for the fact that Victoria didn't have the aura of abyss magic in her body, it would even suspect that Victoria was a mutant winged demon among their demon clan. What kind of evil creature are you? Soul demon Alex screamed in extreme horror. Especially when it saw Victoria's eyes, it was so frightened that its scalp was numb. That was obviously the look in his eyes when he saw the delicious food. It looks exactly like the way it looks when it devours other living beings. This mutated angel seems to want to eat it with a high probability. As a demon, it turned into food at this time. Where does this make sense? You're in luck. While sealing the soul demon Alex in a space ball, Victoria said, "If my lord hadn't been curious about you, you wouldn't be alive now." Victoria is very interested in the abyss power within the soul demon. Intuition told her, this power will be of great use to her. It might even touch her unshakable character. Thinking of this, Victoria felt even more itchy. The lust in his eyes became even more intense. If I just take a small bite and don't let this demon die, it should be fine, right? My lord is kind, and he won't blame me if he thinks about it. Victoria couldn't help but stick out her tongue and lick the corner of her mouth. Seeing this scene, the soul demon Alex, who had been completely imprisoned in the space ball, became even more frightened. You can clearly see that the color of its eyes is purple. This shows that it is a pure-blooded demon. It is not a hybrid low-level monster. However, this is not good news, because the higher the devil's bloodline level and personality level, the greater and purer the abyss power in his body will be. Because of this, it became a delicacy in Victoria's eyes. When she was in the underground world of the floating island, the evil-eyed demons that Victoria encountered also had the blood of the void demons flowing in their bodies. At that time, Victoria was not interested in those evil-eyed demons at all. Just because the abyss power in their bodies is so weak that it is almost invisible. Relatively speaking, the soul demon with pure bloodline in front of me is not much better. What do you want to do? Soul demon Alex said in horror. Victoria said, "Don't be afraid, it's just a small bite." Hearing this, soul demon Alex was so frightened that he kept retreating. But it is imprisoned in the ball of space, where can it retreat to? In the end, it could only watch helplessly as Victoria reached into its body and forcibly took away a ball of dark red light, which was half of the abyss power in its body. Alex, as a demon, was almost scared to tears at this time. This is too cruel. 87%. Chapter 507. What do you want from a demon? Amidst the screams of soul demon Alex, Victoria swallowed the power of the abyss in one gulp. At that moment, a very happy expression appeared on her beautiful cheeks. Sure enough, her intuition was right. The power of the abyss is a rare good thing for them fallen angels. Not only can it greatly enhance the power of fallen angels, but it also has the opportunity to help fallen angels improve their status. For other creatures, the power of the abyss is a taboo that cannot be touched. But among the fallen angels, the power of the abyss is a great tonic. It is equivalent to a rare treasure of heaven and earth. It is a pity that the void demons who died on the battlefield were basically purified and wiped out. Even if a few corpses are preserved, they may be difficult to find after tens of millions of years. Otherwise, she would have to find a way to collect them, whether they were living demons or dead demon corpses, to extract more power of the abyss. After all, Soul Demon Alex is just a middle-level god-level demon. Even if all the power of the abyss is extracted from its body, it will still not be enough to shake Victoria's archangel status. I really look forward to the war coming soon, Victoria said to herself. In this way, I can kill countless demons, even the void demon ancestor, and thus find hope of breaking through the realm. What? Is the war going to restart again? Inside the space ball, Soul Demon Alex collapsed to the ground very weakly. Half of the power of the abyss was forcibly extracted. It was already very good that it was not directly seriously injured and dying. After hearing what Victoria said, it struggled a few times as if it was stimulated. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. It has been in this universe for tens of millions of years. This is a very long time. It misses the breath of the original universe. What? Are you looking forward to it? Victoria glanced at it sideways and said, in this war, my angel clan will completely wipe out your void demon clan. Your Majesty the Demon King will never have a second chance to escape from my lord. Of course, you won't be able to see such a scene. Your future will either be eaten by me or purified by Angelia. Quote. Soul Demon Alex did not speak. It was so frightened that it curled up inside the ball of space, its smoke-like body trembling. As a demon, it has now fallen into the hands of an angel, and its fate can be imagined. It even has the urge to self-destruct. However, it discovered that even self-destruction was a luxury. While Victoria extracted half of its abyssal power, she also sealed the godhead within it, and even the origin of the demon soul. Whether it is destroying its godhood or using the secret techniques of the demon clan to annihilate its own demon soul, it is an impossible thing. If I'm destined to die, then can you please grant me one wish and tell me what kind of existence you are? While being suppressed and imprisoned, it sensed an extremely terrifying aura in Victoria's body, which made it feel even scarier than the Lord God who wielded great divine power. It had a moment of doubt that the black-winged angel in front of it was a supreme god. But there's no way to really know for sure. After all, supreme gods are very rare. Even among the powerful angel clan, it is said that there are only 7 supreme gods. It is difficult for it to believe that it will be personally hunted by a supreme god. This feeling, in the terms of mortals on this planet, it's like shooting mosquitoes with anti-aircraft guns. It gives it too much face. Wish. What do you need from a demon? Just wait and die, Victoria said coldly. Then he put away the space ball that imprisoned Soul Demon Alex. In this space ball, there is a trace of the power of the Supreme God King that she has injected into it. Its defensive power is so strong that even the Soul Demon Alex cannot break it even if he tries his best. The next step is to follow the will of our Lord and clean up the heretics in the Creation Church. This is quite simple. Get rid of all those heretics at once. Victoria didn't want to waste her precious time on those heretics. She couldn't wait to return to her creator, lest the creator get too excited with Angelia and forget about her. Then, just be a little more serious. Thankfully, the rules and will of this world are still in a state of chaos, and no real wisdom has emerged. Otherwise, it will definitely not be able to carry my power. While muttering to herself, a terrifying thought emerged from Victoria's body. Just the pressure of his thoughts instantly wiped out this extremely large underground base. This is the result of Victoria's best efforts to control it. If you let go, the entire blue star will collapse under the pressure of this thought. The billions of humans and countless creatures on the blue star will naturally turn into dust in the universe. Back then Angelia used her supreme power to kill a god-level titan in the Titan god realm with the Sword of Destiny. Now, I just follow her example. She has no reason to scold me. Immediately, this terrifying idea spread instantly and directly enveloped the entire blue star. After only one breath, Victoria took back this thought. Because her mission is accomplished. 87%. Chapter 508 Taboos that cannot be provoked, or discussed. At the same time, in the headquarters of Church of Creation, various areas of my city, and branches of Church of Creation around the world, countless figures fell instantly. Their souls were destroyed in an instant. He died simply and silently. Even the best medical examiners could not figure out the cause of their death. As Puchu said, Church of Creation has more than 2 billion believers from all over the world. However, Victoria is not crazy enough to kill all the more than 2 billion creationists. After all, Blue Star is the reborn home planet of the Creator. She couldn't let Blue Star enter its apocalypse. Otherwise, even if the benevolent creator would not blame her, Angelia would have to teach her a lesson. To be honest, Victoria is still very afraid of this eldest sister. The most fundamental reason is that her two little sisters are not here. With her own strength, she is no match for Angelia. Therefore, Victoria was very sensible and only killed those middle and high-level people in the Church of Creation who were good at deceiving people. Get rid of these people, and Church of Creation will inevitably become a mess. The remaining creationists will also see the situation clearly. We will no longer believe in the God of creation fabricated out of thin air by the top leaders of the Creation Church. If nothing unexpected happens, after the collective death of the middle and high-level members of the Creation Church is exposed, more people will join the so-called Western religion. Believe in the Lord of Holy Light of their angelic clan. Only the Lord of Holy Light, the omnipotent and omniscient God, can protect them. Mission completed. You can go back to see my Lord. Victoria didn't pause for a moment. He immediately tore apart the void in front of him and teleported towards the other end of the blue star. Shortly after Victoria left, a group of people entered a certain combat command center in the beautiful country. There are high-ranking officials among them, as well as armed agents. However, as soon as they entered the hall, the scene in front of them scared these people so much that they stood still and did not dare to move. Because the combat command center was completely silent. All kinds of mechanical instruments are still running, but there is no living person inside. There were just hundreds of corpses in various poses. Everyone in the room is dead. My God, what exactly happened here? Who killed them? Someone kept shouting out in surprise. There was even a beautiful Chinese woman who vomited on the spot. Hundreds of corpses appeared in front of her, which directly refreshed her cognitive perspective. She had never seen such a horrific scene. Soon, after checking the surveillance and the tasks of the combat command center, they deduced the cause of death of these people. It's the fallen angel with 12 wings. She must have killed one of our people. Only she has such terrifying strength. At this time, a senior executive from the beautiful country who was present received a phone call. After the phone call, his face was already pale. Something big happened. Secretary Smith and his wife, Director Grand, and General Virginia. They are also dead. Not only that, in our entire beautiful country, in all major states and regions, according to incomplete statistics, more than 8,000 people died inexplicably just now. These people are all elites in various fields. According to reliable sources, such strange deaths have occurred in many other countries. Hearing this, everyone else present also widened their eyes. A look of horror and disbelief. Although many people died every day on Blue Star, it was the first time that so many people died mysteriously at the same time, even affecting countries around the world. This was the first time that such a thing had happened. To them, this was a disaster. The deaths of those people are also related to the 12-winged fallen angel. Almost certain. She just came to our country, and her death happened immediately. There is no such coincidence in the world. Then why did she do this? Some news broke that these people who died all joined the Creation Church. This must be a fight between church factions. The existence of the Creation Church has angered the ruler of the heavenly kingdom in some ways, so he sent the fallen angel to come over to impose divine punishment. My God, isn't he afraid of causing outrage? Public outrage. In the hearts of more than 2 billion Westerners around the world, the ruler of the kingdom of heaven is their God. Sending divine punishment to sanction the Creation Church will only make those Westerners even crazier. After this incident, more people will join the Western religion. Become a believer in him. Wait a moment. If this was a catastrophic incident targeting the Creation Church, then why did these people in the Combat Command Center die? Could it be that they are all creation believers? No, they are not creationists. The reason why they died is because they sent a team of sky condors to intercept the fallen angel when she came. Oh, then they really deserve to die. The deaths of these people also made me understand one thing. Don't try to provoke those angels, let alone go against the kingdom of heaven. That ruler is a madman with terrifying power. Clear, not just a beautiful country. When the truth behind the mass death of the Church of Creation was exposed internationally, all countries listed the heaven kingdom as a taboo that should not be provoked, or even talked about easily. Just like the inexplicable and indescribable Cthulhu. While the beautiful country and the rest of the world were in chaos, Victoria, the instigator of the incident, had already returned to Lin Yu. Handed the soul demon Alex she captured to Lin Yu. 87%. Chapter 509. Is this the devil? Does the legendary demon really exist? And he also came to our blue star and became the god of creation of the Creation Church. In the box, the professionals brought by General Lee stared at the spaceball in Lin Yu's hand, with horror and disbelief on their faces. They don't know how strong the demon is. But it is definitely stronger than the blue star professionals like them. If Lin Yu hadn't sent his 12-winged fallen angels to take action this time, they would have captured and sealed the demon. You don't need to think about it to know that it will definitely bring disaster to Blue Star. Thinking of this, they couldn't help but feel lucky that a strong person like Lin Yu was born in this world. At first, they regarded Lin Yu as a threat. This is human nature because the power Lin Yu controls is too powerful. But now, they are grateful to have Lin Yu's existence. This is a very contradictory feeling. Is this the devil? At the same time, Lin Yu also turned his attention to the black mist trapped in the sphere of space. There was a trace of doubt on his handsome face. The demon in his impression should be the kind covered with black scales, with a pair of exaggeratedly large bat wings, and a large number of bone spurs. The overall look is as ferocious as it is ferocious. Or the kind of coquettish one who looks extremely beautiful, sexy, and coquettish. As a result, the real demon turned out to be just a black mist. Except for a vaguely visible head, there is no body or limbs. Looking at the devil with this appearance, he even felt disappointed. Victoria saw what Lin Yu was thinking and quickly explained, Supreme Creator, this is just one of the demons of the Void Demon Clan. It belongs to the Soul Demon Clan. The body has always been in an invisible state and is mainly composed of soul power. In addition to the soul demons, there are also winged demons, shadow demons, blood demons, fire demons, succubus demons, moonlight demons, etc. among the void demons. These are the big ones among the demons. There are also more small ones. Branch. No matter what branch of demons they are, there are differences between mixed blood demons and pure blood demons. The pure-blooded demons are considered the nobles among the void demons. This type of demon is extremely talented, not weak in strength, and has the smallest number. They use the color of their eyes to distinguish whether their bloodline is pure or not. Purple is a pure-blooded devil. Hearing this, Lin Yu immediately looked at the soul demon's eyes, which were pure purple. In other words, this is a pure-blooded soul demon. Yes, my lord. Victoria nodded respectfully and said, no matter what research you want to do, using pure blood demons is the best. Inside the sphere of space, Soul Demon Alex's body kept shaking. There was also a strong look of fear in the purple magic eyes. Human beings, who are called the Supreme Creator, by the terrifying 12-winged fallen angel, actually want to study it. This is not good news. It would rather be knocked out. Nor do they want to be studied or tortured. In addition, it is also extremely curious about the origin of this human being who can actually obtain the allegiance of a 12-winged angel, and he is as respectful as a believer. Don't the angels believe in the Lord of Holy Light? At this moment, it saw Angelia standing next to Lin Yu. Another 12-winged angel, and the whole body exudes a holy aura and a bright divine light. This is the angel in his impression. As for Victoria, in the heart of Soul Demon Alex, she is an alien among the angel clan. She has never seen an angel possessing the power of evil, and it can also swallow the power of the abyss. Victoria scares it more than the real angel. Because it doesn't know when Victoria will swallow up the other half of the abyss power remaining in its body. By then, it will most likely be completely finished. Soul Demon Alex looked at Angelia. In a daze, its eyes became dull. A memory picture that had been sealed in dust for tens of millions of years suddenly appeared in its mind. That is a photo-taking scene. In the picture, there is a figure of a great being that is very similar to the holy angel in front of it. It can even be said to be exactly the same. The only difference is that this one is a 12-winged angel. The great being in the picture is an 18-winged archangel who commands an army of angels as large as the ocean. Then, another picture appeared. What is shown in the picture is the great being holding an angel sword burning with golden flames, killing one of their void demons, a demon ancestor who is comparable to the supreme god. The reason why it still remembers it is because this scene is too shocking. Make it unforgettable. Impossible. How could such a great being appear in such a small mortal world? And he's serving a human being. But the problem is, the 12-winged fallen angel also calls that human being the Supreme Creator. Soul Demon Alex breathed in the cold air. If its guess is true, is this human being who is only at the demigod level the legendary Lord of Holy Light? How can this be? The Lord of Holy Light is a terrifying existence comparable to His Majesty the Demon Emperor. How is it so lucky to be able to see it? 87%. Chapter 510. Victoria desperately wants to stand up. Lin Yu played with the space ball in his hand. It had to be said that he was indeed very interested in this pure-blooded soul demon. I'll have to study it carefully when I get back. It would be even better if we could learn from it the origin of the laws of the Void Demon Camp. Lin Yu looked up at Victoria and asked, "Have you ever cleaned up the Creation Church?" Victoria said respectfully, "To my lord, I have wiped out all the middle and high-level members of the Creation Church, as well as all the evil ones. I killed more than 30,000 people. Today's Creation Church is in disarray. I believe that soon, this church organization will fall apart and cease to exist." Well done. Lin Yu nodded approvingly. Thank God. Victoria was naturally very excited to be praised by the Supreme Creator. Just now she learned that Angelia had gone shopping with the Creator and enjoyed the prosperity of this mortal world. She felt very depressed, but now she feels much more comfortable. It can be seen that Victoria is an archangel who is easily satisfied. Of course, the target must be Lin Yu. If it had been anyone else, it would have been pretty good if they hadn't been hacked to death by Victoria's sword. At this time, Angelia on the side suddenly said, "This soul demon's original power of the abyss has disappeared a lot." Victoria said, "The abyss where it disappeared was swallowed up by me." Angelia suddenly looked surprised. Lin Yu was also a little surprised and said, "Can you swallow the abyss of the devil?" Victoria said respectfully, "Yes, my lord, this is what I just discovered. It should be not just me, but all the fallen angels can swallow the abyss of the demons. Moreover, devouring the source of the abyss will be of great benefit to us fallen angels. Not only can we quickly improve our strength, but it can also help us break through the limitations of our status. If enough abyss origins are swallowed up by me, I believe my personality will be able to break through." While speaking, Victoria glanced at Angelia. There was a hint of pride in his eyes. However, Angelia seemed not to see it at all. She was immersed in the shocking discovery that fallen angels could consume the power of the abyss. Even she didn't know there was such a thing. However, this is normal. After all, she is not a fallen angel, nor does she fully understand angels after the fall. This is a good news. Lin Yu said with a smile. If war really comes in the future, I look forward to seeing your fallen angel camp become stronger with the help of the power of those void demons. The same as you. I look forward to seeing you promoted to a 14-winged angel, or even a 16-winged archangel. Praise the Lord, we will not let you down. Victoria said extremely excitedly. In fact, what she wants to say is that what she wants to break through is not the status of the 14-winged angel, but the status of the 18-winged archangel. Once successful, she can be promoted to the Holy Angel of Chaos. The angel clan has been developing for hundreds of millions of years. The overall scale has increased by an unknown number of times. However, there are still only 7 18-winged archangels. No angel has ever been able to advance to the level of 18 wings. As for the Holy Angel of Chaos, there is no such thing either. The personalities of these 7 18-winged archangels seemed to be sealed and could not be shaken. But it's different now. She saw hope for further progress. If she can successfully be promoted to the Holy Angel of Chaos, she can become a serf and sing, and it will be completely impossible for Angelia to bully her again. Based on this alone, she must work hard. No matter what, she wanted to experience the feeling of beating Angelia violently. At the same time, the fantasy pictures appeared in Victoria's mind, making her inner world extremely excited, and the heart of the fallen angel in her body was beating loudly. It's as if the wish will come true soon. However, what Victoria didn't know was that after Angelia's continuous communication with Lin Yu day and night during this period, her gains were greater and her hope of breakthrough was also higher. After all, what Secretary and received was the irrigation of the power of creation. It is much higher than the original power of the abyss she swallowed. Even if there is a breakthrough, there is a high probability that Secretary and will break through first. She wanted to stand up and suppress Angelia, but her hope could be said to be very slim. Lin Yu didn't know what Victoria was thinking. He casually handed the space ball that sealed Soul Demon Alex to Secretary and said, "Angelia, take it and study it first." "As you command, my lord." Angelia took it respectfully. Then, with a dull expression on Soul Demon Alex's face, he put away the space ball. "Angelia, the real name of that mighty 18-winged archangel. That is to say, is this human being in front of me really the legendary Lord of Holy Light? Your Majesty the Demon Emperor. I was lucky enough to meet the Lord of Holy Light of the Angel Clan. Even if I was studied and tortured, it was worth it. The Void Demon Clan is a race that worships the strong and values strength. Even if you are facing enemies, as long as you are strong enough, you can still be respected by them. Let alone the Lord of Holy Light. The Lord of Holy Light, the ultimate boss of the Angel Clan, not only defeated their demon army, but also almost killed their demon emperor. The feeling of demon soul Alex seeing the Lord of Holy Light was like a mortal seeing an immortal god. That kind of boundless respect and fear made its demonic soul tremble. 188%. Chapter 511 Whether it's chaos or not has nothing to do with me. Not long after, General Lee also returned to the box. He didn't feel strange when he saw the 12-winged fallen angel Victoria appearing, out of thin air, in the box. It is normal for a strong person at the demigod level to come and go without a trace. He was just curious about what this 12-winged fallen angel did during the period after he left Xingwu City Demonic Martial Academy. In fact, information about the tragedy that happened in beautiful country and around the world has reached the top officials of Sha country. It's just that I haven't had time to notify him yet. Forest. General Lee spoke. I wanted to continue calling Lin Yu my little friend. But when he saw Victoria, who was covered in blood, he took the initiative to change his words and called Lin Yu classmate Lin. This is a standard title. He wouldn't almost bring disaster to himself like just now. General Lee said with a solemn expression. We agree to all three of your conditions, and after entering the floating island, we will fully cooperate with your kingdom development plan. The only thing we hope is that you can treat everyone equally. Treat your kingdom workers and our people without prejudice. Certainly, Lin Yu said with a smile. As long as they enter the floating island, they will all be subjects of the kingdom under my command and will serve me. Naturally, I will not treat them harshly. Hearing this, General Lee also breathed a sigh of relief. With this promise from Lin Yu, he can rest assured. Lin Yu is the owner of 014965 Floating Island and is in charge of everything on this floating island. Even the rules of the world are on Lin Yu's side. If Lin Yu wanted to do something to their people, they had absolutely no way to avoid or counter it. Lin Yu's promise was a shot in the arm. No need to worry or be afraid anymore. As for whether Lin Yu would go back on his word, he didn't need to think about it at all. With Lin Yu's current identity and status, the probability of deceiving them with lies is almost non-existent. General Lee said, I will evacuate the people on 013724 Floating Island as soon as possible, but I don't know when we will go to 014965 Floating Island. Lin Yu said, the people on your island don't need to evacuate. After I capture this floating island, I will integrate it with 014965 Floating Island. As for your legion in Blue Star, I will later set up a time and space channel in the Magic Martial Arts Academy for you to teleport to the island. Lauren is here. General Lee expressed his gratitude. Without this space-time channel, it would be very troublesome for them to get on and off the island. After all, the vast majority of their legion members are just ordinary people. There is no professional teleportation mark. If you want to get to the island, you have to rely on the help of other professionals. That would be too much trouble. After thinking for a while, General Lee asked again, Classmate Lin, I wonder when the angel army under your command will enter the battlefield of all realms. Can our army follow them? After I return to the floating island, I will immediately open the door of time and space to the battlefield of all realms. Lin Yu said, as for your legion, General Lee, let me put it bluntly, you will die if you go there. It is better to stay on the floating island and continue to develop. I will simultaneously start a two-way war on the 10,000 Realms battlefield and the floating island. When the time comes, your legion will also participate in the war. I have only occupied 2 of the 14 floating islands. There are still 12 floating islands waiting for me to send an army to capture them, so the opportunities in the world of floating islands are also great. General Lee said hesitantly. Occupying all 14 floating islands will probably cause dissatisfaction among the Blue Star countries. Lin Yu said, whether they are in chaos or not is their business and has nothing to do with me. If you can't withstand the pressure, I can send my kingdom's army into Blue Star to help you. General Lee's expression suddenly became solemn. Don't worry, Mr. Lin, we will go all out to deal with Blue Star's problem. Hearing this, Lin Yu couldn't help but smile. General Lee, if there is nothing else, I will leave first, and you should also prepare. Classmate Lin, walk slowly. General Lee took the initiative to send Lin Yu and others out of the box. It was not until Lin Yu and his party left the restaurant that General Li and others breathed a sigh of relief. Although Lin Yu has always been kind, the pressure on them is unimaginable. Even General Li, who is a peak Holy Dragon Knight, can't stand it. When the Holy Green Dragon in his body sensed the aura and pressure of Lin Yu and the others, he didn't even dare to take a step, as if he was afraid of attracting the attention of Lin Yu and others. Is this the demigod who controls the power of law? Just standing there prevents me from having any disrespectful thoughts. It's absolutely terrible, an extraordinary professional said with lingering fear. General Li said, knowing that demigods are terrifying, you must work harder. Advance to this level as soon as possible so that you can follow the footsteps of the kingdom of heaven and enter the battlefield of all realms. With the protection of the kingdom of heaven, we will go further than other countries. This is a great opportunity that belongs to our Sha kingdom. We must seize it firmly. Clear, all the professionals shouted in unison. At this moment, General Li received a call. The content on the phone made General Li's face change, and his expression was full of horror. That is information about the tragedy of Church of Creation. Finally the news reached him. Only now did General Li know what the 12-winged fallen angel did after disappearing. Demigods are indeed terrifying beyond imagination. 88%. Chapter 512 Lin Yu is a dangerous person. Shortly after Lin Yu left, a figure appeared in this bustling commercial street. This is an old man wearing a black robe. His whole body exuded an extraordinary aura, making passers-by around him afraid to approach. Blue Star has been exposed to extraordinary powers for more than a year, and professionals are often seen. Especially after the large-scale return of Sha Kingdom professionals from 014965 Floating Island, the number of professionals in major cities has surged wildly. You can often meet professionals by chance. However, professionals who reach the extraordinary level are still very rare. And all of them are veteran professionals from a year ago. For such a strong man, people will naturally look at him with awe. However, the old man in black robe had no time to pay attention to the looks of passers-by around him. At this moment, he was looking blankly at the sky above the restaurant not far away. A group of figures rose straight into the sky and flew towards several silver-gray aerial fighters suspended in the clouds. Soon after, this fighter group left. It quickly disappeared from his sight. Too late again. The old man in black robe had a tangled expression. He is none other than City Lord Zhou, who appeared at the Demonic Martial Arts Academy before. Before that, he was chatting with Dean Zhang while waiting for the arrival of General Li and others. What he didn't expect was that General Li passed him directly and found Lin Yu. When he gets the news and comes over, the two of them have finished talking and have gone back to their homes. I told you a long time ago that you need to change your dilly-dallying attitude. No matter what you do, you always come a step late. If I encounter danger one day and wait for you to save my life, my body will be cold by the time you come. Dean Zhang also appeared. He also helplessly looked at the group of sky planes flying towards the distant sky, and couldn't help but complain about City Lord Zhou. Hearing this, City Lord Zhou twitched his face, and then said, General Li and the others were able to leave alive, which at least shows that the atmosphere of the conversation was still very friendly. ... Dean Zhang rolled his eyes. After thinking about it, he asked, do you want to meet Lin Yu? After all, he is also from Xingwu City, and you are the City Lord of Xingwu City. If you can get his support, the future of Xingwu City it must be bright. It's not necessarily true, but with his help, you can be promoted to the holy level, or even to demigod. Never mind. City Lord Zhou simply refused. Lin Yu is a dangerous person. It's best not to get close if you can. Compared to him, what do I, a small city lord, mean to him? As you wish. Dean Zhang didn't try to persuade him again. Like City Lord Zhou, he didn't want to meet Lin Yu again. Just like City Lord Zhou said, Lin Yu is a dangerous person, and he might be kicked out by the 12-winged angels around him just because he said one wrong word. At this moment, City Master Zhou received a call. His expression soon changed. After hanging up the phone, he said with a sigh on his face, fortunately we didn't meet, it was too dangerous. Dean Zhang asked in confusion, what happened? City Lord Zhou said, I just got the news that the 12-winged fallen angel under Lin Yu went to the beautiful country and used some secret technique to kill most of the middle-level members of the Creation Church in various countries in the world in an instant. And high-level officials, more than 30,000 creationists were killed. Suddenly, the whole world is in chaos. Especially the beautiful country, where the most people die. There was also a beautiful country elite in the combat command center, all of whom were also killed. The reason is that they sent an Air Force team to try to intercept the 12 fallen angels. Intercept that fallen angel. Dean Zhong's eyes widened and he couldn't believe it for a moment. But if you think about it carefully, this seems to be the style of the beautiful country. Those guys are used to being the boss. Even when faced with the Paradise Kingdom that swept across 2 floating islands, it still couldn't grasp its own position. Dean Zhong seemed a little disappointed and said, "It would have been better if the 12-winged fallen angel had been more ruthless." City Lord Zhou naturally understood what Dean Zhong meant. If that happens, the world will be even more chaotic. It might directly trigger a world war. What are you afraid of in a world war? As long as the kingdom of heaven takes action and hundreds of demigods come to Blue Star together, the big mushrooms can be crushed for you. That makes sense. City Lord Zhou nodded. He couldn't help but shudder when he thought of hundreds of demigods who had mastered the power of laws descending on Blue Star. That scene was absolutely terrifying. However, City Lord Zhou and Dean Zhong did not know that the number of demigods in Heaven Kingdom was in the thousands, and it would only take a short time for them to exceed 10,000. The most important is, demigods will soon become the regular combat power of Heaven Kingdom rather than the top combat power. The reason is very simple. In the spiritual field space of Sacred City, at this moment, Lin Yu has more than 1,000 peak-level demigods under his command who are breaking through the realm. Once successful, there will be more than 1,000 immortal gods. If they come to Blue Star, not to mention the big mushroom, even Blue Star would be beaten to pieces. 88%. Chapter 513 Pilgrimage. Just when City Lord Zhou was chatting with Dean Zhong, there were dense crowds of figures gathering towards this commercial street. Soon the surrounding streets were blocked. A rough estimate is that there are at least tens of thousands of people. City Lord Zhou and Dean Zhong thought something was going on somewhere, and were about to send someone to investigate, but someone came over immediately to report that nothing happened. These people came to join in the fun and see the angels. The scene of Lin Yu going shopping with 2 12-winged angels was posted online. This attracted a large number of people from the surrounding area. It was as if a big star had landed in the air. Of course, being an angel is more attractive than a celebrity. After all, there are many creatures like celebrities in the world. But the angel appeared on Blue Star for the first time. Moreover, angels are also creatures in Western mythology and are extremely famous all over the world. Everyone wanted to see with their own eyes what the archangel looked like. These people are really crazy. Dean Zhong couldn't help but complain. Angels are not an ornamental species. Where can I see them if I want to? Especially the 2 12-winged angels beside Lin Yu are incredibly powerful. If this kind of onlookers arouses dissatisfaction on the other side, it may directly cause a catastrophe. With the terrifying strength displayed by the 12-winged fallen angel, there is a high probability that he can easily destroy the entire Xingwu city. This is normal, City Lord Zhou said. Even I want to see the angel with my own eyes. Dean Zhong glanced at him sideways and said, then go ahead. As the Lord of Xingwu City, it is possible for Lin Yu to see you. I'm just saying, if you really want to see me, forget it. City Lord Zhou shuddered and shook his head. There is a saying that curiosity killed the cat. He didn't want to die young because of his curiosity about angels. Although he is over 50 years old, as an extraordinary professional, he has already regained his second youth. He also wanted to be promoted to the rank of holy, demigod, or even an eternal god, to glow with more spring, but he did not want to die in the hands of those 2 12-winged angels. What City Lord Zhou and Dean Zhong don't know is, people who want to see angels are not just the surrounding residents and those on the internet. At this moment, in all parts of the Blue Star world, countless people are rushing to grab air tickets to Sha Country, because the news of Lin Yu's return to Blue Star has long been spread on the professional forum. There are a terrifying number of Westerners who want to come to Sha Kingdom. For them, this cross-country journey is a pilgrimage. Worship the great Lord of Holy Light. Worship the God they believe in. Among these pilgrims, there are not only ordinary people, but also professionals from all over the world. They also have faith in God. Although Lin Yu is from Sha Country, but he has the identity of the Lord of Holy Light of the Angel Clan. All angels serve and believe in him. And, it is said, that as the Lord of Holy Light, his status is higher than that of the Supreme God on the battlefield of all realms. Not long ago, a Shaw Country professional broke the news on the professional forum that when Lin Yu conquered the 014965 floating island, the nature elf queen, the peak demigod, surrendered without a fight with the powerful natural elf empire. The reason is that the founder of the nature elves, the supreme god king and the goddess of nature and elves, personally came to 014965 floating island and ran to Sacred City to meet Lin Yu. This led to the subsequent surrender of the natural elf empire. As the supreme deity, the goddess of nature and elves seems to have to lower her head in front of Lin Yu. This shows how high Lin Yu's status is. For those Westerners, isn't this the template of God? So they don't need to doubt anything at all. Lin Yu is their god, just come and pay homage. In a short period of time, the crazy Westerners had charged an astronomical price for air tickets to Shaw Kingdom. Many people were eager to fly over even if they lost all their money. There are also a large number of Western Christians with strong financial resources who want to immigrate to Shaw Kingdom. Because this is the hometown of God. Even if we don't see it this time, there will be opportunities in the future. They even wanted to believe that as long as they arrived in Shaw Kingdom, they would be blessed by God. The crazy actions of these Westerners have also made countries around the world that were already in chaos even more chaotic. But the problem is, the top leaders of various countries dare not step forward to stop it. Because there are too many Westerners. Among them are many elites in various fields. If it's not done well, the negative impact will be huge. Even direct rebellion is possible. Therefore, high-level officials from all over the world could only contact the Shaw Kingdom officials again and again, and tried their best to cooperate with the Western believers' pilgrimage. And for Shaw Guo, this is also a good thing. Because it can stand out from countless Western believers from all over the world. The first batch of pilgrims are basically elites and heavyweights from all over the world. If these people can be retained in Shaw Kingdom, then Shaw Kingdom's strength will definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Just like when the beautiful country absorbed the wealth and elite talents from all over the world. Beautiful country can do it. Shaw Guo can do the same, or even do it better. Leave the people and wealth behind first, and then conquer the country behind them. In the future, the Shaw Kingdom will definitely be able to surpass the beautiful country and dominate the Blue Star. At the same time, Lin Yu also came to a familiar place. That's his home. 88%. Chapter 514. Mother Lin, can't be found in the laws of fate. This is a somewhat old neighborhood. Except for the decent greening in the community, there are basically no other facilities that offer any advantages. Along the way there were familiar sights and familiar people. However, no one greeted Lin Yu, because all eyes were attracted by the two 12-winged angels following him. Angelia and Victoria, one is holy, the other is evil. Both are extremely beautiful. It's just that Victoria's body shape is a bit exaggerated. It is taller than the trees in the community. Everyone standing near her turned into dwarfs. This is also the fundamental reason why Lin Yu didn't want to bring Victoria to Blue Star at first. Fortunately, after entering the battlefield of all realms, Victoria can be promoted to the level of a god, and then master the ability to shrink her body. By then, Lin Yu will be able to keep pace with her. Soon, Lin Yu returned to his home. Angelia and Director Subin were followed by him. As for Victoria, she could only stay outside, which made her very unhappy. A standard set of 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. The home decoration is also very simple, which shows that the owner is not a rich person. Nearly a month has passed, and the furnishings at home have not changed at all. There is even a faint trace of dust on the coffee table in the living room. Angelia, this is my home in Blue Star. I have never seen my father for as long as I can remember. My mother also left a year ago, leaving me only a memory and a deposit that was enough for me to graduate from the Magic Martial Arts Academy. While speaking, Lin Yu waved his right hand. With the sweep of the power of law, the entire suite became spotless and clean as new. But I always believed that she did not die. She just went somewhere I don't know. Hearing this, Su Yi on the side quickly asked, "Did you go to the floating island?" Lin Yu said, "When my mother left, the world floating island had not yet arrived." Su Yi suddenly became speechless. Angelia said, "My lord can use the power of the law of destiny to find traces of you, your mother." Lin Yu shook his head and said, "I tried it, but it didn't work. I can't find a trace, it's like she doesn't exist at all. This is the reason why I am most confused, but I firmly believe that she is still alive." "Can't you find the law of destiny?" Angelia looked stunned. In her opinion, the probability of this possibility is almost non-existent. Unless the mother of the Lord of Holy Light is not an ordinary person, but a very powerful existence that can directly block the connection with the law of fate. Could it be it? Angelia was shocked and thought to herself, if it is it, it is not impossible. After all, it was the last person my lord saw before stripping off his godhood and divinity. Angelia even guessed. The rebirth of the Lord of Holy Light is also very likely to be his cooperation and help along the way, including guarding the Lord of Holy Light after his rebirth. Angelia said, "My lord, don't worry. After you are promoted to the realm of true gods, the power of the law of destiny will become more powerful. By then, you can try to sense it again." Lin Yu nodded. His current state of mind is very calm and he is not anxious at all. Because he always firmly believes that as long as his power is strong enough, he can achieve any goal. Even if something unexpected happened to my mother, he could forcefully reverse time and resurrect her. At this time, Supervisor Su suddenly said, "Classmate Lin, it seems that I have never heard you mention your other relatives. You have been on the floating island for so long, and they have not said that they will come to help you clean your room." "I have no relatives." Lin Yu shook his head simply and said, "I have lived with my mother since I can remember, and I have never met any so-called relatives." There is a question about relatives. Lin Yu had also used the power of the law of destiny to check it before. The result is still nothing. Grandparents, 3 aunts and 8 aunts. None of them exist. It felt to Lin Yu as if he and his mother had jumped out of a stone. Since discovering this problem, he also had some doubts that he was really the reincarnation of the Lord of Holy Light. For example, he hatched from a certain egg. As for Lin Ma, she is not his mother at all, but his guardian. This is not impossible. After all, fate is fickle and anything can happen. After hearing Lin Yu's words, Angelia deepened her suspicions again. As for class instructor Su, he looked confused and thought to himself, "I am an orphan, a widower, and have no relatives. Could it be that classmate Lin's family moved from another city and cut off all contact with relatives at home?" From her perspective, she could only think of these. As for what the law of destiny is and what its purpose is, she doesn't know. If she knew, she would definitely not think this way. "Okay, don't mention this," Lin Yu said with a smile. "Teacher Su, you can stay for dinner. My secretary Anne's cooking skills are quite good. You can have a try." Amelia Su agreed. However, she was the one cooking. Because the thought of a 12-winged angel cooking food for her made her feel awkward all over. God, how could such an elegant, holy, and beautiful angel enter the kitchen to cook? Even as a woman, she felt very distressed. She felt that maybe Lin Yu had too many angels under his command, so she didn't care. But how could Su Yi know? In the process of serving Lin Yu was enjoying it, and Angelia was also enjoying it. For Angelia, this is the highest honor. Victoria is eager to serve the Lord of Light, but she hasn't found the opportunity yet. Moreover, when the Lord of Holy Light returns to his peak, she will have no chance to do such a thing again. During dinner, Su Yi found an opportunity to express to Lin Yu her desire to go to 014965 Floating Island and become a professional in Paradise Kingdom. Lin Yu naturally did not refuse. This made Amelia Su very happy. Looking forward to the beautiful life after joining Paradise Kingdom. 88%. Chapter 515. We are the 18-winged archangels. At night, the moon and stars are sparse. Lin Yu is lying on the bed. Angelia also curled up quietly in Lin Yu's arms. This night, the two did not exchange the secret of the law. Lin Yu's mood also showed an unprecedented tranquility. It even entered an ethereal state. He opened his eyes and looked at the big light on the ceiling of the bedroom, not knowing what he was thinking. At the same time, in his body, the power of creation was overwhelming, and the power of more than 500 original laws of different attributes was increasing on its own. Although he did not didn't discuss the rules with Angelia. But his strength is getting stronger strangely. This makes Lin Yu himself unable to explain why. It's as if Blue Star is his holy land of practice. He doesn't have to do anything, just stay here, and his power will increase at a terrifying speed. Logically speaking, this is an impossible thing to happen. After all, Blue Star is just a mortal planet. We have just entered the extraordinary era, and even the rules of the world have not yet been born. Without the rules of the world and the magic power of the elements of heaven and earth, even ordinary professionals cannot cultivate them. Ordinary people who want to become professionals in Blue Star do not rely on practicing secret techniques, let alone spiritual meditation, because that is useless. You can only use spiritual objects like spiritual rice that contain magic power and can improve your physical condition. A mortal world where even ordinary professionals cannot be born naturally. Here, Lin Yu was able to quickly increase his strength and strengthen the origin of the law. This is somewhat incredible. In the end, Lin Yu could only define this weird incident as related to his current peaceful state of mind. I don't know how long it took. Angelia suddenly hugged Lin Yu's waist gently and asked, "What is my lord thinking?" Lin Yu said with a smile, "I'm wondering whether you are a new angel, or like Gladys and others, an old angel who has descended to the lower realm." Lin Yu had wanted to ask this question before when he was on the floating island. Hear Lin Yu's words. Angelia was silent for a few seconds. After thinking for a long time, she finally said, "Reply to my lord, I have lowered myself to the lower realm. I did not mean to deceive my lord, but I was worried that speaking out would ruin my lord's plan." Lin Yu secretly said that it was true. Then he wondered, "What is my plan?" Angelia said, 50 million years ago, after the war between the Holy Demon and the Holy Demon, you suddenly stripped off your creation godhead and divinity and left your divine domain. No one knows why you do this. No one knows where you went. In order to find you, our angel family has used all means to search all over the universe, but we have never been able to find you. The entire Lord's domain is in chaos. It was also at that time. Astia and the other 318 winged archangels have gone to extremes. They brought a group of high-ranking angels who were loyal to them and voluntarily fell to pursue more powerful power. The purpose is also to find you and welcome you back to the Lord's God realm. We don't know whether what Astia and the others did was right or wrong, but in order to prevent more angels from falling and entering the realm of extreme evil, we created hell and sealed them away. Astia and the three of them have no objection to this. Because in hell, they can have more direct contact with the power of corruption. Time flies, and 50 million years have passed. You entered the floating island of all realms without any warning. At that moment, your will simultaneously shook the Lord's God realm. We finally sensed your presence. Angels are not a military unit of the floating island of all realms. It's because we forcibly interfered with the rules of the world here. Perhaps it was the guidance of fate that you chose us among the 5 military units." After listening, Lin Yu was silent for a long time. Angelia's words revealed a history of 50 million years for him. He couldn't help but be shocked. Suddenly, he smiled and said, "What would have happened to you if I had chosen Titan instead of Angel?" Angelia said, "My lord, I believe there will be no what-ifs, because the fate has already been determined." Right. Lin Yu accepted this answer. Destiny is an extremely mysterious force. Even though he has now mastered the origin of the law of destiny's power, he is far from being able to completely see through destiny. At this time, Angelia continued, "So we always believed that you had a plan and purpose to strip away the godhood and divinity of creation. Unfortunately, we are weak and unable to peak. The only thing we can do is to serve you, follow your will, and help you complete your plan. But many times we don't dare to expose ourselves too much. I'm just worried about affecting you. Originally, Victoria and I should not have appeared in front of you." Lin Yu perked up and listened quietly. Sure enough, Angelia said softly, "Victoria, like me, is an 18-winged archangel. Bred from the original reincarnation pool created by you." Hearing this, Lin Yu's expression suddenly became dull. There is a feeling of passive suffocation. 89%. Chapter 516 Secretary Anne's bottom line. Angelia is actually an 18-winged archangel. This was something Lin Yu didn't expect. He originally thought that even if Angelia really downgraded herself and surpassed the 12-winged angel at her peak, she would only be a 16-winged angel at most, and most likely a 14-winged angel. After all, the entire angel family, tens of thousands of angels. There are only 7 18-winged archangels. They govern the entire Lord's divine realm, not only possessing supreme power and status, but their own divine status has also reached the level of the supreme gods, which is the level of the goddess of nature and elves. How could such a supreme being willingly degrade himself? Become a little 4-winged angel? How big is the loss? Therefore, Angelia's answer directly shocked Lin Yu. The expression on his face was dull. Extremely unbelievable. What he didn't expect at the same time was that the 12-winged fallen angel Victoria, who was staying outside alone to look at the stars at the moment, was actually an 18-winged archangel. 2 of the 7 18-winged archangels from the angel clan suddenly appeared next to him. This really makes Lin Yu feel a little weird. It feels like being the millionaire you originally thought turned out to be the richest man in the world. The psychological gap is really too big. The key is, he actually had an in-depth communication with an 18-winged archangel. And it lasted for so many days. He was a little confused for a moment. It wasn't until a long time later that Lin Yu came back to his senses. After taking a long breath, he said, "Your loss is too great. If you had not arrived on the floating island, you would still be the 18-winged archangels who control the supreme power." Angelia said with a solemn expression, "As long as we can serve the Lord, we will not hesitate even if we completely lose our supreme power." "What's the meaning? Your original strength has not disappeared." Lin Yu perked up and asked quickly. Angelia explained, "The floating island is a very weak extraordinary world that cannot bear our divine power. If you want to get in, the best way is to seal the Godhead and divinity in your body. This is also the reason why my body can go down to the next world. After landing on the floating island, in order to help my Lord develop the kingdom of heaven, I am also constantly collecting the original power of the floating island, so as to unlock the seal bit by bit and gradually increase my strength." Bit by bit indeed. Angelia didn't even dare to unblock too much at once. It was because they were worried that the world rules of the floating island could not be sustained and collapsed. "That's good." Lin Yu breathed a sigh of relief. Angelia has not lost her supreme power, which is good news for him. After all, it is very difficult to rebuild it again. "Victoria is the same as you." "That's not true," Angelia said. "Those high-ranking fallen angels, including Victoria, have stripped away their divinity and temporarily existed in the Lord's divine realm. This is because the divine power of fallen angels is too evil. It's difficult to block their fallen divine power with a seal. If we want not to affect the floating island world, we can only peel it off. However, my Lord, don't worry. When they return to the Lord's divine realm, they will be able to easily merge their godhood and divinity, thus returning to their peak power." Hearing this, Lin Yu was completely relieved. He said with emotion, "No wonder you and Victoria both master the origin of hundreds of laws with different attributes. It turns out that you are both 18-winged archangels." "My Lord," Angelia opened her pink lips. "In fact, the number of law origins we have at our disposal exceeds 2,000. Most of the law origins cannot be revealed, lest the rules of the floating island world cannot bear it." Lin Yu was speechless for a moment. What else could he say? It's strange that he now has mastered the origin of more than 500 laws, but he still feels that Angelia's power is bottomless. The fundamental reason is that he is still far from reaching Angelia's bottom line. Lin Yu asked, "How many sources of laws are there in the world?" Angelia said, "To my Lord, there are 3,000 laws in the world. Destiny, time and space, cause and effect, creation, destruction, are all included. Original law, regardless of level or strength, it is possible to be promoted upwards. When the level of the origin of the law reaches the level of the Lord God, you can be promoted to the Lord God with great divine power. If you reach the highest level, you can be promoted to the Supreme God King. Generally speaking, the more gods of the same level possess laws of the same realm, the stronger they will be, and the more vast the divine power in their bodies will be." Immediately, Angelia informed Lin Yu. Among the more than 2,000 original laws she has mastered, only 146 have reached the highest level. The rest are basically the main God-level laws. A few laws have not even reached the level of the Lord God. But even so, her strength can still dominate the battlefields of all realms. Even the goddess of nature and elves is not her opponent at her peak. Lin Yu asked curiously, "How many supreme laws did the Lord of Holy Light master at his peak?" Angelia shook her head and said, "You have never mastered even one supreme law, but you are the great creator, and you can create all the laws of the world out of thin air. Back then, you used the power of creation to create and integrate thousands of supreme laws, and defeated the demon emperor of the void in one fell swoop." 89%. Chapter 517 3,000 Laws of the World. Lin Yu was secretly surprised. "I thought that the old man, the Lord of Holy Light, was really powerful." Angelia, who masters more than 100 supreme laws, can become one of the top supreme gods, running rampant in the center of the universe, the battlefield of all realms. But the old man, the Lord of Holy Light, is able to create and integrate more than 1,000 supreme laws. The terrifying power far exceeds the level of the supreme god. No wonder the goddess of nature and elves did not dare to take a breath when she saw him. However, Angelia's words also awakened Lin Yu. If he takes the path of law, he may be able to rival or even surpass the Lord of Holy Light in the future. To give a very simple example, there are 3,000 kinds of laws in the world. Every original law can be promoted to the supreme law. If he could master all 3,000 laws and advance them to the level of the supreme laws, he would most likely be even more powerful than the Lord of Holy Light. Another point is that the fusion of more than 1,000 supreme laws can defeat the Demon King, the ruler of the Void Demon clan. If he masters and integrates 3,000 supreme laws, then wouldn't it be as easy for him to beat the Demon Emperor of the Void as he was to beat his son? Of course, if this is the case, it is definitely extremely difficult to truly master the 3,000 supreme laws. As an 18-winged archangel, Angelia has practiced for hundreds of millions of years, and has only mastered more than 100 supreme laws. She is still far from the perfection of the 3,000 supreme laws. For Lin Yu to get to this point, it can be said to be more difficult than reaching the sky. All I can say is, this is a dream. Lin Yu asked with some confusion. Angelia, why doesn't the Lord of Holy Light even master one of the original laws? I believe that with his strength, it is not difficult to understand the secrets of the laws. Angelia didn't care that Lin Yu referred to himself in the third person. I don't know all the information about you, but according to my guess, it should have something to do with your body. You were born at the beginning of the universe, when chaos enveloped the world. At that time, there was no such thing as law in the universe, and your body was also filled with the power of chaos. The only thing you have control over is the power of creation. Perhaps it's because the power of chaos in your body rejects the power of law. That's why you can't master it. Of course, this is just my guess. What is the specific reason? You will understand it after you return to the peak and merge the Creator Godhead and Divinity. Hearing this, Lin Yu nodded slightly. He said, the reason why the Lord of Holy Light was reborn is most likely because he glimpsed the future war and felt that his power was not strong enough, so he chose to rebuild. My intuition tells me that practicing the law is a path to becoming stronger. If possible, I will master all the origins of the 3,000 laws in the world and create the strongest foundation. The war in the prophecy of the Lord of Holy Light was far more dangerous than the war between saints and demons tens of millions of years ago. The enemy may no longer be just the void demons. There are also the Omnics and Eternity in the prophecy. If he remains the same as before, he will most likely be doomed. Therefore, he must break through himself. He has to become more powerful than the old man, the Lord of Holy Light. Angelia said, Great Lord of Holy Light, no matter what happens in the future, I will follow you and advance and retreat with you. Hearing this, Lin Yu hugged Secretary and tighter in her arms. Even for Secretary and, for Elena, Cheryl, Doris, and for the angel family who firmly believed in him, he had to straighten up. After all, how could he enjoy this wonderful life if he died? Afterwards, the two chatted for a long time. While chatting, the exchange of rules began. It's not just Lin Yu who wants to become stronger, Angelia also has her own goals. In this era, she must be promoted to the level of the Holy Angel of Chaos to help the Great Lord of Holy Light protect the universe. It starts again. The outside of a residential building. Victoria was sitting on the steps of the gate, holding the sword of fallen angels burning with black flames in one hand. The expression on her beautiful face showed a little unhappiness. She could hear clearly what was going on upstairs. This made her feel irritable. When she was bored, she tried to unlock her identity. Although her supreme godhood and divinity are sealed in hell, once the person of the 18-winged fallen archangel is unsealed, she can still obtain the power of the god level and shrink the body of the fallen angel easily. Suddenly, Victoria let out a light sigh. Because she suddenly discovered that the process of unsealing her personality did not cause a shock to the Blue Star world. In other words, she can maintain her status as an 18-winged fallen archangel in this world. How is this going? Is it because this world has no rules in the first place, so it can carry the power of my personality? Weak rules cannot carry the power of more advanced rules. But in a world without rules, you can do whatever you want. This is one of Victoria's guesses. Of course, it does not rule out that this world is huge and can accommodate all forces, just like the battlefield of all realms. However, this possibility is very low. In the end, Victoria gave up on unblocking because once her identity was unblocked, she would not be able to enter 014965 Floating Island. The incompetent world rules could not carry her power at all. Hold on. If nothing else happens, my lord should return to the floating island tomorrow and enter the 10,000 realms battlefield at the same time. At that time, I can become a god in place and shrink my body. 89%. Chapter 518, The Power of Self-Reliant Creation. One night passed. Lin Yu woke up very comfortable. The whole person's energy were extremely strong. Just like a car that has been filled with oil after maintenance, the whole body is smooth and full of energy. Then he sensed his own body and discovered that the number of original laws he had mastered was close to 600. This discovery shocked Lin Yu. You know, he did not have a serious exchange of laws with Angelia last night. It would be understandable if the original power of the laws that we had mastered before were improved because of the ethereal state of mind. But what are the origins of the sudden increase in laws? Obviously, he didn't understand it. This feeling is like being in a fantasy world and having hundreds of years of extra cultivation after sleeping. This is very incredible, Lin Yu did not wake up Angelia, who was sleeping beside him. Sit up cross-legged with gentle hands and feet, and use your consciousness to mobilize the origin of the law of time in your body. He wants to go back in time. Look what happened to his body last night. Soon, under the influence of the origin of the law of time, countless pictures emerged in Lin Yu's sea of consciousness. After a while, he noticed something unusual. After he ended his communication with Angelia and fell asleep, the power of creation in his body began to vibrate again. And with each round of shock, a secret of the original law will be created and then integrated into his body. In the process, the power of faith stored in his body was also burning. This is providing energy for the power of creation. After a total of 9 rounds of creation, Lin Yu's body also, miraculously, successfully mastered a complete secret of the original law. Then comes the second, third. What goes around comes around. In one night, Lin Yu mastered the secrets of dozens of original laws with different attributes. It's all the creative power in the body that is working hard on its own. Is this okay? Lin Yu was stunned. He had no idea that the power of creation in his body would actually learn to be self-reliant. Could it be that he dislikes his slow growth? So you just support yourself. At this time, Angelia woke up and looked at the strange expression on Lin Yu's handsome face, and asked doubtfully, "My lord, what happened?" Lin Yu informed Angelia of his findings. After listening, Angelia was also stunned. With hundreds of millions of years of cultivation experience and knowledge, this is the first time she has heard of such a thing. As everyone knows, it is very difficult to comprehend the profound meaning of the original law. Ordinary demigods may only be able to understand the origin and meaning of 1 or 2 laws in their lifetime, so they have to choose to light the divine fire. And even though she is an 18-winged archangel of the angel clan and has practiced for hundreds of millions of years, she has only understood the origin of laws with more than 2,000 different attributes. Putting aside the levels of those original laws. Under normal circumstances, every time you understand the secret of the origin of a law, the difficulty will increase dramatically. The further you get to the back, the harder it is to understand. As for sleeping, dozens of more sources of laws appeared in the body. She had never heard of such a thing, it was simply magical. Angelia thought for a while and said, "My lord, the power of creation is your exclusive power. It can create everything in the world and is above all original laws. At this stage, only you can unlock the mystery of the power of creation." Secretary and had no way to explain this kind of thing. After all, she does not have the power of creation. He himself has not reached the level of Chaos Holy Angel. If those 2 Chaos Holy Angels were here, they might be able to clear up the confusion of the Lord of Holy Light. The reason is simple. They were created by the Lord of Light through the pure power of creation. On the other hand, their 7 18-winged archangels were all born from the primordial reincarnation pool created by the Lord of Holy Light. There was an extra link in the middle, which caused them to fail to reach the level of the Holy Angels of Chaos. Lin Yu nodded. Then he smiled and said, "It doesn't matter even if you don't understand. After all, this is a good thing. Originally, I was still worried about how to master the 3,000 origin laws, ignite the divine fire with the strongest foundation, and become a god. This way, things will be much simpler." He still doesn't know whether it was because he returned to Blue Star that he stimulated the power of creation in his body and made it learn to be self-reliant. Even if that's the case, it's easy to handle. At worst, he would be on the battlefield of all realms during the day, and take Secretary and back to Blue Star to sleep at night. And if it is simply because of the power of creation that one learns, self-growth, that would be even better. It won't be long before he can realize his dream. Get up. Go to the Magic Martial Arts Academy first and open up the space-time channel. After that, we will return to the floating island and enter the battlefield of all realms. Lin Yu's thoughts at this moment also drifted to the sacred city. After a whole day, he thought that the more than 1,000 peak demigods under his command should have broken through. Angelia nodded slightly. Then he got up and helped Lin Yu get dressed and wash up. 89%. Chapter 519 Gift from the Beautiful Country. The community is surprisingly quiet. Even the sound of birds disappeared. When Lin Yu closed the door and led Angelia to the door of the building one after another, he was shocked to see a dense number of people kneeling and worshipping outside. It extends from the entrance of the building to the outside of the community. There were at least thousands of people kneeling. The scene is very spectacular. Among them, there are beautiful Chinese with blonde hair and blue eyes, and there are also people from other countries. One thing they have in common is that they are all Western Christians. And he is a Westerner with extremely crazy beliefs. Some of them entered Sha Kingdom overnight and rushed here. The reason why these Westerners know Lin Yu's residence is simply because Lin Yu doesn't avoid people wherever he goes. He, Angelia, and Victoria's group had already been photographed and posted on the internet, including their whereabouts into this community. These thousands of crazy Westerners were the first to get the news and rushed over as soon as possible. In addition to them, more and more Western Christians are gathering here. Because here is the God they believe in. My lord. At this time, Victoria came over respectfully. In her hand, she still held the fallen angel sword burning with black flames. Lin Yu discovered that when those Western Christians looked at Victoria, instead of fear, there was incomparable awe in their eyes, and even a trace of excitement. Perhaps, they regarded Victoria as a fallen angel similar to Lucifer. At the same time, this also made them believe that Lin Yu is the God they believe in. After all, Lucifer is also an angel created by God. In Western Christian mythology, Lucifer is a primitive angel with extremely powerful divine power. He controls a large angel army. Together with Michael and Gabriel, he is the commander of the angel army. Lucifer rebelled against God because God made all the angels kneel before the sun. However, the unruly Lucifer chose to refuse. Because Lucifer believed that the sun did not inherit the power of God, not worthy of his awe and loyalty. Of course, this is a Western myth. It has nothing to do with the angel clan created by the Lord of Holy Light. However, even knowing this will not hinder Westerners' fanatical belief in Lin Yu. In the eyes of Westerners, Lin Yu has the allegiance of the angel clan, and his status is higher than the supreme god, so he must be the god in their Western canon, and it has to be. Lin Yu nodded towards Victoria. His eyes also stayed for a few seconds on Victoria's beautiful cheeks and perfect body with golden proportions. Now that he knows that Victoria is also an 18-winged archangel, he will have to prepare some time to communicate with Victoria in the future, including the other 5 18-winged archangels. Just at this time, those Westerners who were kneeling on the ground also saw Lin Yu. Suddenly, they became excited. Even my breathing was quickened. Great Lord, you created the universe and the stars, the sky and the earth. You created mankind and all things. You are the Almighty God, merciful and fraternal. Please have mercy on your humble believers, give us the gospel, and guide us in the way forward. Praise be to you, my God. The Westerners prayed fervently to Lin Yu. Their prayers could be heard throughout the neighborhood. I have to admit that Lin Yu actually felt their faith in him. With the help of the connection of faith, he can also understand these voices from all over the world. However, facing the prayers of these Westerners, Lin Yu did not speak, but turned his eyes to Angelia aside. As the secretary of the Lord of Holy Light, Angelia immediately stood up and said to the Western believers who were kneeling on the ground, "Firm faith has opened the door to the divine world for you, and the great Lord of Holy Light will protect you. His followers. Believe in the Lord and receive eternal life." Secretary Anne's words were conveyed through spiritual power to all the Western Christians present. They were extremely excited, shouting in their respective languages, "Believe in the Lord and receive eternal life." Too crazy. It also scared people hiding nearby. Among these people, there are ordinary people and professionals. They are not Westerners. They just come to see the angels and join in the fun. The scene in front of them immediately shocked them. But for Lin Yu, these are just small scenes. He had seen the image of tens of millions of angels kneeling together to worship him more than once, not to mention the mere thousands of Western Christians. It was really nothing. Just when Lin Yu was about to leave, several figures suddenly walked over quickly. Judging from their appearance, they are all from beautiful countries, and their identities seem to be not simple. The leader was a middle-aged man, holding a black briefcase in his hand. He glanced at Victoria holding the fallen angel sword with a look full of horror, then looked at Lin Yu, and said very sincerely, "Your Majesty Lin Yu, I am a diplomatic envoy from the beautiful country. For what happened yesterday, our beautiful country expresses our most sincere apologies. This is our gift to you. I also hope to use this to establish a deep friendship with you in your heavenly kingdom." With that said, he stepped forward and handed the black briefcase to Lin Yu. But Victoria stopped him directly and took it over. When he opened it, he saw drawings that exuded a pale golden light. 89%. Chapter 520 Opening a space-time channel and returning to the floating island. Rough estimate. There should be thousands of drawings. If all of them are high-end and top-level drawings, then Maliguo is still very sincere. The middle-aged man from the beautiful country said to Lin Yu, "There are a total of 1,300 drawings here, including equipment forging drawings, troop number drawings, exclusive troop evolution drawings, etc. Although Your Majesty Lin Yu cannot use it, you can still sell it to our professionals on the floating island and get a huge amount of gold coins. The blueprints, equipment and other items of different floating islands cannot be used universally. It's like the equipment Lin Yu brought back from 014965 Floating Island, which can be sold to other floating island professionals for them to use on Blue Star, but they cannot bring the equipment to their floating island. This is obviously Wanji Floating Island, to prevent veteran professionals from cheating and help new professionals. Under normal circumstances, equipment, blueprints and other items on each island can be exchanged until each floating island is connected. This is a pretty good gift." Lin Yu waved his right hand and put all the drawings into the space artifact. He said to the middle-aged man with a smile, "I have received your beautiful country's sincerity, and I can forget about yesterday's incident." Hearing this, the middle-aged man's mouth suddenly twitched. It was obviously their beautiful country that suffered a big loss. Hundreds of elites in a combat command center died cleanly. And they also lost a team of sky condors. As a result, when Lin Yu came here, it was past the past. It's as if Lin Yu is the one who suffers. However, he could only choose to accept Lin Yu's words. Because the situation is stronger than the people. Facing Lin Yu and the heavenly kingdom that was too powerful to contend with, their beautiful country could only lower their heads and take the initiative to bring gifts to express their apology. The middle-aged man asked with a smile on his face, "Your Majesty Lin Yu, what do you think about the friendship between our beautiful country and the Paradise country? This is their main purpose of coming here. Now, what the beautiful country is worried about is not the Paradise Kingdom sending an army of angels to station on Blue Star, but the invasion of the floating island world where they are located. If their floating island is captured by Paradise Kingdom, like Sakura country, Banksy country and other floating islands where exotic professionals live, then their losses will be even greater. It may even be directly eliminated by the extraordinary era. The purpose of establishing friendship is to avoid this happening." Lin Yu smiled lightly and said, "Let's talk about this later. Let's go." The last words were spoken by Lin Yu to Angelia and Victoria. Just kidding, how could he establish a so-called friendship with the beautiful country? Isn't that losing the watermelon and picking up the sesame seeds? He also wants the blueprints, and he also wants to capture the floating island. As for whether the beautiful Congress will be eliminated by the extraordinary era because of this, what does it have to do with him? The voice fell. The figures of Lin Yu and the others disappeared out of thin air. The middle-aged man opened his mouth, but no words came out, and he stood there with a confused expression. "Sir, we seem to have been tricked. Shit, do I still need you to remind me?" The middle-aged man's face turned green with anger. He traveled thousands of miles overnight. Not only did he fail to achieve his planned plan, but he also lost more than 1,000 precious drawings. It can be said that he lost both his wife and his army. Let's go. Go back quickly. My intuition tells me that we don't have much time left. Perhaps it won't be long before the angel army from the kingdom of heaven will invade our floating island. We must do our best to prepare for a defensive counterattack. Even if I try my best, I can't let Lin Yu succeed." Without delay, the middle-aged man quickly led the team and left the community. As for the thousands of Western Christians, they did not disperse for a long time. Some of those who acted quickly have already bought houses in the community and are ready to live there for a long time. What a privilege it is to live in the same community as God. The other side. Lin Yu and the other three came to the Magic Martial Arts Academy. After Dean Zhang learned the news, he immediately brought Supervisor Su over to greet him. He had a bright smile and was very enthusiastic. After all, I couldn't take my vacation successfully because my superiors were pressing me. Dean Zhang said with a smile. Classmate Lin, welcome back. Lin Yu said with a smile. Dean, there is no need to be so polite. We will leave after the time and space channel is opened. That's regretful, Dean Zhang said with great disappointment. Yesterday, things were in a hurry and there was no time to prepare. No, I booked a box at the best restaurant in the city early in the morning and prepared to entertain classmate Lin and the two angels. Yeah, Lin Yu said with a smile. The same goes for returning to the floating island after eating. Dean Zhang. Seeing that Dean Zhang was speechless, Lin Yu was also a little happy. Then he ignored Dean Zhang and released the original laws of time and space, opening a space-time channel with a diameter of tens of meters on the college's playground. At the same time, the world rules of 014965 floating island are connected with consciousness, and this time and space channel is completely connected. The exit of the space-time channel was placed on the 36 islands in the bay by Lin Yu. Not only are there many islands, but the soil is fertile and various resources are also very abundant, which is very suitable for Sha Kingdom to develop there. One more thing. There is a dragon clan guarding the 36 islands in the bay. The offshore area in the west is the Sea Empire where Queen Medusa is migrating. To the north, inland, is the fertile area under the jurisdiction of the Illuminati. In the other two directions, there is the endless sea. It can be said that this is an absolutely great place. With the strength of Sha State, it is already very good to be able to develop the 36 islands in the bay within a few years. Let's talk about the future. Let's go. While thinking, Lin Yu took Angelia and Victoria directly into the time and space channel. The sexy and beautiful Su Yi, after saying hello to Dean Zhang, also entered the space-time channel and teleported to 014965 floating island. 014965 floating island.